My wife Elena was murdered in our home. 17 stab wounds. In our kitchen. At 9 p.m. while I was at the office. When police arrived, there were no witnesses. No security cameras. No signs of forced entry. But one device had heard everything. Alexa, on the counter. It had recorded her screams. Recorded the struggle. Recorded the killer's voice. Police requested the audio file. Amazon refused. Said it violated user privacy. Said they needed a court order. It took 8 months. 8 months I fought. The killer was walking free, preparing to run. Finally, I got the file. I heard Elena's voice one last time. Then I heard another voice. A familiar voice. An impossible voice. Because that voice belonged to the man who had coffee with me every morning. My name is Carter Mills. I'm 43 years old. And when I learned who killed my wife, the world stopped. Because the killer was the last person I expected. Or so I thought. Let me take you back 14 months. I was working as a software engineer in Portland. Elena was a pediatric nurse. We'd been married 9 years. No kids yet, but we were trying. We lived in a quiet neighborhood in Northwest Portland. Small house, nice yard, good neighbors. We'd installed an Alexa 2 years earlier. Elena used it constantly. Timers while cooking, music during dinner, news in the morning, shopping lists, weather, normal stuff. Nothing remarkable. Our next-door neighbor was a guy named Travis Odom, mid-40s, lived alone, worked from home doing something with data analysis. Quiet, friendly enough. We'd chat over the fence occasionally. He'd help shovel snow in winter. We'd lend him tools. Standard neighbor relationship. Elena worked night shifts twice a week at the hospital. On those nights, I'd usually stay late at the office, catch up on projects. The commute home was easier without rush hour traffic. October 16th was one of those nights. Elena had the evening shift, 6 p.m. to midnight. I texted her around 8 saying I'd be home by 10. She responded with a heart emoji. That was our last communication. I left the office at 9:30, 20-minute drive home. Got there at 9:50. The front door was unlocked. Strange. Elena was careful about locking doors. I walked in calling her name. No response. Lights were on in the kitchen. I walked back there. And that's when I saw her. Elena was on the floor. Blood everywhere. So much blood. I couldn't process what I was seeing. Couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then training kicked in. I called 911. Checked for a pulse, even though I knew. She was cold. She'd been dead for a while. Probably an hour at least. Police arrived in 4 minutes. Paramedics right behind them. They pulled me out of the kitchen, sat me on the couch, asked questions I couldn't answer. Who would do this? I don't know. Any enemies? No. Financial problems? No. Affairs? Never. She was perfect. We were happy. Detective Maria Santos took lead on the case. Homicide Division. She walked through the house carefully. No forced entry, no ransacking, nothing stolen, no sexual assault. This wasn't a robbery. This wasn't random. The wounds told a story. 17 stab wounds. Concentrated in the chest and abdomen. Close range. Personal. This was someone who knew her. Someone angry. The medical examiner estimated time of death between 8:45 and 9 p.m. Right when I was leaving the office. 20 other people could verify I was there. I wasn't a suspect. That should have been a relief. But it meant someone else had done this. Someone who'd entered our home, killed my wife, and disappeared without a trace. Detective Santos interviewed everyone we knew. Friends, family, co-workers. No one had motive. No one had opportunity. Elena's co-workers said she'd left the hospital at 8:15, stopped at a grocery store. Security footage showed her shopping at 8:25. She'd bought ingredients for dinner. She got home around 8:40 based on her phone's GPS. 20 minutes later, she was dead. Someone had come to our house in that 20-minute window, or someone had been waiting inside. That thought made my skin crawl. The idea that someone had been in our home, hiding, waiting for Elena. Santos interviewed Travis, our neighbor. He'd been home all evening, hadn't seen or heard anything unusual. No cars, no strangers, nothing suspicious. He seemed genuinely shocked about Elena's death, offered to help any way he could. 3 weeks into the investigation, Santos came to me with an idea. Your Alexa device. It was in the kitchen, right? Yes. On the counter by the stove. Could it have recorded anything? I don't know. Maybe. Does Amazon store those recordings? Santos made some calls. Found out that yes, Amazon stores voice recordings from Alexa devices. Every command, every conversation near the device. Everything. She submitted a formal request to Amazon for the audio files from our device, specifically the time period between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on October 16th. Amazon's response came 2 weeks later. Request denied. User privacy protection. We would need a court order. Santos applied for a warrant. Presented the case to a judge. Murder investigation. Potential evidence. No other leads. The judge signed the warrant. Santos served it to Amazon's legal department. Amazon fought it. Filed a motion to quash. Argued that releasing the audio would set a dangerous precedent, that it violated Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search. That voice recordings were protected as private communication. Their legal team was massive, well-funded, experienced. Santos had the Portland PD legal counsel. Overworked, underfunded. The court battle dragged on. Months passed. I hired my own lawyer. Civil case to access my own device's data. My home. My wife. My Alexa. But Amazon argued that once data was uploaded to their servers, it became their property, subject to their privacy policies. I couldn't believe it. Elena was dead. Her killer was free. And a tech company was blocking the investigation to protect their business interests. The delays were destroying me. Every day that passed was another day the killer had to run, to destroy evidence, to establish an alibi, to disappear. I became obsessed with the case, quit my job, spent 16 hours a day researching, following up leads, talking to anyone who'd known Elena. I went through her phone records, her emails, her social media, looking for anything, any hint of who'd done this. I found nothing. Elena's life was an open book. She had no secrets, no hidden relationships, no debts, no conflicts. She was genuinely good, which made her murder even more senseless. 5 months after Elena's death, I started receiving threats, anonymous emails, saying I should stop pushing for the Alexa recordings, that some things were better left unknown, that I was putting myself in danger. I forwarded them to Santos. She traced the IP addresses, all sent through VPN services, untraceable. Whoever sent them didn't want to be found. That scared me, because it meant someone was watching my efforts, someone who knew I was fighting Amazon, someone who didn't want that audio released. I hired private security, changed my locks, installed cameras everywhere, became paranoid, stopped trusting anyone. My friends said I was losing it. That grief was making me irrational. But I knew better. Someone had killed Elena, and that someone was still out there, watching. Month 6, the judge finally ruled on the Amazon case. The warrant was valid. Amazon must release the audio files. But Amazon appealed to a higher court. More delays, more legal arguments, more months of my life consumed by waiting. I attended every hearing, sat in courtroom after courtroom, watching lawyers argue about privacy rights and evidence protocols, while Elena's killer remained free. Month 7 brought a breakthrough. Not from the legal case, from Travis, my neighbor. He came to my door one evening, asked if we could talk, said he had something to tell me, something he should have mentioned earlier. We sat in my living room. The house still felt empty without Elena. Travis looked uncomfortable, kept fidgeting. Finally he spoke, on the night Elena died. He'd heard something, around 9 p.m., a loud thud, like something falling, or someone. He'd looked out his window, saw someone leaving our backyard, moving quickly. Couldn't see details, just a figure. "Why didn't you tell police this?" I asked. I wasn't sure what I saw. It was dark. Could have been nothing. And I didn't want to get involved. Get involved? My wife was murdered, I know. I'm sorry. I should have said something. I've been carrying this guilt. I called Santos immediately. She came over, interviewed Travis again, this time officially. With the new information, Santos expanded the investigation, checked traffic cameras, door cameras on neighboring houses, found footage of a car leaving our street around 9:15 p.m. Toyota Camry. Couldn't get the plate. Too far away. But it was something. Proof that someone had been at our house. Someone who'd left in a hurry. Month 8, finally. The appeals court ruled. Amazon must release the files. No more delays. No more appeals. It was over. Santos called me the day the files arrived. We're going to listen to them at the station. Do you want to be there? Yes. I have to hear it. Are you sure? It's going to be difficult. It might be traumatic. I don't care. I need to know. I drove to the police station. Santos had a private room set up. Just her, me, and a tech specialist. They'd already reviewed the files, already knew what was on them, but they wanted me to hear it with them. Make sure I understood what we were hearing. The tech specialist pulled up the audio file. Time-stamped 8:47 p.m. Here's where it starts. He pressed play. At first, just ambient sound. Elena humming, water running. She was washing vegetables. Then a door, the back door, opening. Elena's voice. "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" A male voice. Calm, friendly. Just wanted to talk. Long pause. Then Elena again. More cautious now. "About what?" The male voice again. "About us. What happened? Why you stopped." "Stopped what?" "I don't understand. You know what I mean." Elena was the one who stopped. Another pause. Then Elena's voice. Firmer. "I think you should leave. I'm busy. We can talk another time." "Please, Elena. Just give me 5 minutes. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. Please leave. Now." The male voice changed. Harder, angrier. "You can't just ignore me. Pretend nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Please leave my house." Footsteps, fast. Then a scream, Elena screaming, a struggle, things crashing, the male voice shouting, "You think you're better than me? You think you can just walk away?" Elena sobbing, "Please stop. Please, I'm sorry, whatever." I'm sorry. More sounds of struggle. Elena's voice getting weaker, begging, crying. Then one clear sentence from the male voice. "If I can't have you, nobody can." More sounds. Wet sounds. Elena gasping, then gurgling, then silence. Long silence. Then the male voice again. Calm now. Almost normal. "Alexa, stop music." "Wait." "Alexa, what's the weather tomorrow?" Alexa's automated response. "Tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high of 62 degrees. Footsteps. The back door opening, closing, silence. I sat there, frozen, unable to process what I'd just heard. Santos was watching me carefully. "Do you recognize the voice?" I shook my head. "Play it again." We listened 3 more times. The male voice was familiar, but I couldn't place it. Santos pulled out her laptop. "I'm going to play some voice samples. Tell me if any sound similar." She played 5 different recordings. Men from Elena's life. Her boss at the hospital. A male nurse she worked with. A former boyfriend from years ago. 2 guys from her gym. None matched. Then Santos played one more. "This is from the interview we did with your neighbor, Travis Odom." She played a clip, Travis talking to police, describing what he'd seen the night of the murder. The voice matched perfectly. It was Travis, my neighbor, the guy I'd had coffee with dozens of times, the guy who'd helped shovel snow, who'd borrowed tools, who'd offered condolences, who'd claimed he'd seen someone leaving, making himself a witness, creating an alibi. Travis had killed Elena in our home while I was 20 minutes away, and he'd almost gotten away with it. Santos moved fast, got a warrant for Travis's arrest, for a search of his house. They hit both simultaneously. I watched from my window as police surrounded Travis's house, saw him led out in handcuffs, saw them carry out boxes of evidence. Later, Santos told me what they found. A journal, detailed entries about Elena, about Travis's obsession with her, about conversations he'd had with her. Conversations Elena had never mentioned to me, because they'd never happened. Travis had fantasized them. The journal went back 2 years, when Travis had first moved in next door. He'd become infatuated with Elena immediately, wrote about watching her, learning her schedule, creating opportunities to talk to her. Elena had been friendly, but nothing more. Normal neighbor politeness. But Travis had interpreted it as interest, had convinced himself they had a connection. 6 months ago, according to the journal, Travis had made a move, had told Elena how he felt, had asked her to leave me, be with him. Elena had rejected him gently, had said she was happily married, had suggested Travis focus on meeting other people. Travis had not handled it well. The journal entries after that rejection were dark, angry, obsessive. He felt betrayed, used, led on. His writing became increasingly violent, describing what he'd like to do to Elena, how she deserved to be punished, how if he couldn't have her, nobody could. The final entry was dated October 16th. Today is the day. Tonight I make her understand, make her pay for what she did. They also found the murder weapon, a kitchen knife, hidden in Travis's basement. Still had Elena's blood on it. Travis had been careless, overconfident. He'd thought the lack of witnesses, the lack of evidence at the scene, the careful staging, all of it would protect him. He'd never considered that Alexa had recorded everything, that Amazon stored those recordings, that eventually we'd get access. At trial, Travis's defense tried multiple angles, claimed the Alexa recording was inadmissible, claimed it violated his privacy rights, that he hadn't consented to being recorded. The judge shut that down. You entered someone else's home without permission. You have no expectation of privacy there. They tried to argue temporary insanity, that Travis had been having a mental health crisis, that he hadn't known what he was doing. The prosecution destroyed that argument, pointed to the journal, the planning, the deliberate targeting, the cleanup attempt. This was premeditated murder, not a moment of insanity. The jury heard the Alexa recording, all of it. Elena's voice, her fear, Her pleading, Travis's rage, the sounds of her dying. Several jurors cried. One had to leave the courtroom. Travis sat emotionless through it all. Never looked at me. Never showed remorse. The verdict came back in 3 hours. Guilty, first-degree murder. Sentencing was 4 weeks later. The judge allowed victim impact statements. I stood at that podium, looked at Travis directly, and told him what he'd taken from me. Elena was everything. She was kind, generous, loving. She helped people every single day. Sick children, scared parents. She made the world better. And you took her away because she didn't return your obsession, because she chose me, because she had the audacity to be happy without you. The judge gave Travis life without parole, maximum sentence. As they led him away, Travis finally looked at me. For just a second, our eyes met. I saw nothing there. No remorse, no shame, no humanity, just emptiness. After the trial, I filed a civil lawsuit against Amazon for the 8-month delay in releasing the audio, for obstruction of justice, for prioritizing corporate policy over a murder investigation. Amazon settled out of court, $5 million. They admitted no wrongdoing, just wanted the case to go away. I donated every penny to victims' rights organizations, groups that help families navigate the legal system, that fight for access to evidence, that pushback against corporate obstruction. Because what happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone else. The Alexa audio that proved Travis guilty had existed from day one. But it took 8 months of legal battles to access it. 8 months Travis walked free. 8 months he could have run, could have destroyed evidence, could have killed again. All because a tech company valued user privacy over human life. I moved out of that house 6 months after the trial. Couldn't stay there anymore. Every room held memories of Elena, the kitchen especially, where she died, where Alexa had recorded everything. I sold the house, didn't care about the price, just needed it gone. Moved to a different neighborhood, smaller place. No smart devices, no Alexa, no Google Home. Nothing that listens, nothing that records. People think I'm paranoid. Maybe I am. But I learned the hard way that those devices aren't neutral. They're owned by corporations, corporations with interests, with policies, with lawyers who'll fight to protect those interests even when lives are at stake. The trauma of losing Elena never goes away, but it changes. In the beginning it was raw, overwhelming. Every moment was pain. Now it's different. Duller, but permanent. Like a scar that won't fade. I see a therapist twice a week. PTSD from finding Elena, from the trial, from hearing her die on that recording, from knowing Travis lived next door for months after. Watching me grieve, pretending to care. Playing the concerned neighbor. The therapist says I'm making progress. I'm not sure what that means. I function, I work, I pay bills. But I'm not really living. Just existing in this new reality where Elena is gone. Where the man who killed her lived 20 feet away. Where justice took 8 months because of corporate policy. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened without the Alexa recording. Would they have ever caught Travis? Would he have gotten away with it? The physical evidence was minimal. No witnesses, no camera footage. Nothing tying Travis to the crime except his proximity. Without his voice on that recording, he'd probably be free right now. Living next door, or moved somewhere else. Maybe killing another woman who rejected him. So in a twisted way, I'm grateful for the recording. Grateful that Amazon finally released it. Even though they fought for 8 months. Even though their lawyers argued that privacy mattered more than catching a murderer. Even though they settled the civil case without admitting fault. At least Travis is in prison. At least he can't hurt anyone else. I started speaking publicly about the case 2 years after the trial, not for attention, but to warn others, to explain how smart home devices work, how corporations control the data, how that control can obstruct justice. I've spoken at legal conferences, at victims' rights events, at technology ethics panels. The response is mixed. Some people thank me, say I have made them think differently about their devices, made them more aware of the implications. Others think I'm anti-technology, that I'm fear-mongering, that I'm bitter and using the tragedy to attack corporations. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am bitter. But I'm also right about the danger. These devices are in millions of homes, recording constantly, storing everything. And we've given corporations complete control over that data. We trust them to use it responsibly, to release it when justice requires. But trust isn't enough. Amazon fought for 8 months. They had the evidence that would catch Elena's killer. But they valued their privacy policy more. They valued the precedent. They valued their corporate interests more than they valued justice for my wife. That should terrify everyone. Because if it happened to me, it can happen to anyone. Your home could have a witness to a crime. But accessing that witness requires fighting a tech giant, requires months of legal battles, requires resources most people don't have. I was lucky. The Portland PD didn't give up. Santos pushed hard. The judges ruled in our favor. But it easily could have gone differently. Amazon has won cases like this before. Courts have ruled in their favor, decided that privacy trumps investigation. That should change. There should be clear protocols, clear standards. When a serious crime occurs and a device recorded it, the data should be immediately accessible to law enforcement, with proper warrant procedures, with oversight, but accessible. Not locked behind 8 months of corporate legal obstruction. Some argue this would be a slippery slope, that police would abuse it, demand recordings without cause, violate civil liberties. I understand that concern. I do. But Elena is dead, and her killer almost escaped because Amazon refused to help. Where's the balance? How do we protect both privacy and justice? I don't have all the answers. I'm not a lawyer or a policy expert. I'm just a man who lost his wife, who fought for 8 months to access evidence that already existed, who watched his neighbor get arrested because finally a judge forced Amazon to cooperate. That's not justice. That's barely justice delayed. And delayed justice isn't really justice at all. 3 years after Elena's death, I met someone at a support group for people who'd lost spouses to violence. Her name was Rebecca. Her husband had been killed in a robbery, shot, died instantly. We connected over the grief, the trauma, the way violence changes you forever. We started having coffee, talking, sharing memories, helping each other through the hard days. Eventually, it became more. We started dating, very slowly. Both of us carrying so much baggage, so much pain, but finding comfort in each other. Rebecca understood what most people couldn't. The guilt of moving on. The feeling that happiness is a betrayal. The way you can be laughing and suddenly remember and the guilt crashes down. She felt it too. We helped each other navigate it. After a year, we moved in together. Her place, not mine. I couldn't go back to that house, that neighborhood, those memories. Rebecca's apartment was neutral ground, a fresh start for both of us. We don't have any smart devices. Rebecca understands why. She's never pushed, never suggested that I'm being irrational. She knows what I went through. She respects it. Sometimes I feel guilty. like I'm betraying Elena's memory by being happy, by building a new life. But my therapist reminds me that Elena would want this, would want me to heal, to love again, to live fully. I try to believe that. Most days I succeed. Some days the guilt wins. On those days, Rebecca is patient. She lets me grieve. Doesn't take it personally when I withdraw. She's been through it herself. She understands. We'll never have what we had before. The innocence, the trust, the belief that the world is fundamentally safe. Violence took that from us. But we're building something new, something forged from shared trauma. It's not the same as what I had with Elena, but it's real, and it's enough. I'll never stop missing Elena. Never stop wishing Travis had moved to a different neighborhood, or that Elena had been more direct in her rejection, or that Amazon had released the audio immediately. But wishing doesn't change anything. Elena is gone. Travis is in prison. Amazon settled the lawsuit. And I'm here. Still living. Still fighting for change. Still speaking out about the dangers of corporate control over evidence. That's what I owe Elena. To make sure her death meant something. To prevent others from going through what I went through. To push for laws that require tech companies to cooperate immediately with legitimate investigations. Some states have started changing their laws, creating expedited procedures for accessing smart device recordings in violent crime cases. It's not enough yet, not nationwide. But it's progress, small steps toward a system that values justice as much as privacy. My name is Carter Mill. I'm 46 years old now. Elena has been gone for 3 years. Travis is serving life without parole. Amazon settled our lawsuit, and I've rebuilt my life, piece by piece. It's not the life I planned, not the future Elena and I imagined. But it's mine, and I'm grateful for it. Because I could have given up, could have let the grief consume me, could have spent those 8 months of delays falling apart. But I didn't. I fought for answers, for justice, for Elena. And eventually I won. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Sometimes that's all you can ask for. Enough justice to keep moving forward, enough healing to find happiness again, enough change to maybe prevent the next tragedy. That's Elena's legacy. Not just the grief and loss, but the fight that came after. The laws that changed. The awareness that grew. The other families who'll get justice faster because we fought for 8 months. That matters. It has to matter. Because if it doesn't, then Elena died for nothing. And I refuse to accept that. So I keep fighting, keep speaking, keep pushing for change. It's what Elena would have done. It's what she would have wanted. And it's the only way I know to honor her memory.